Forever family, and welcome to January's Product Power Hour. I'm Holly Stout, Vice President of Global Product Development, and I am joined today by our esteemed Dr. Peter Pressman from our Scientific Advisory Board. We're going to talk today about a triangle of health or wellness, and Dr. Pressman's going to help share some insights into the science, features, and the ingredients that we're going to talk about today. But first, I'm going to ask you, if you are listening and you have any questions that come to mind, please go ahead and pop those into the chat, and I'm going to be answering those questions with Dr. Pressman live here at the end of this show. So with that, I'm going to introduce Dr. Peter Pressman, and I'm going to ask him to introduce himself and give a little bit of background, because I know our Scientific Advisory Board is very important to you as FBOs, but I also know that when we first introduced them, that video, you might not have seen it for a while, and you might not know the power and science that Dr. Pressman brings to this team. So with that, Dr. Pressman, hello, and thank you for joining.
It's a pleasure to be here. A real joy to work with you guys. And we've been doing this for some years now. So hopefully when I say nice things, I have some credibility. You guys are an absolute class act.
I love that. Well, I know Dr. Wally Hayes from a previous life, and as we were looking at bringing on some scientists, I thought, gosh, there's nobody greater than our world-renowned toxicologist, Dr. Wally Hayes. And he came to us with this powerful team of doctors and scientists, and that's when I had the pleasure and the privilege to meet you. We had the opportunity of standing on stage in Stockholm, if you remember, and addressing our FBOs. You got to meet really the heart and soul of our business. But Dr. Pressman, can you tell us a little bit about yourself? Give me a little bit of insight into your background and how you came to know Forever.
Well, let me start with the other two folks that you mentioned here. I've worked really for the last 15 years with Wally Hayes and with Roger Clemens, and these are two guys who had a prior relationship with you folks. And as I got more and more involved in projects with them and the various initiatives that we were doing in the realm of food science, nutrition, and health, they folded me more and more into the work that we were doing to provide a clinical perspective. Now we are delighted to be able to provide what we think is almost a kind of a synergistic level of guidance for the folks we work with. We bring the nutritional, we bring the toxicologic, so we emphasize the safety, so we have efficacy, we have safety, and then we have the clinical, which I get to play with because as a consumer of the powerful science that those two guys generate, I get to say, well, that stuff looks like it might be extraordinarily useful in helping us manage the following conditions medically. Or maybe even simply, what can we do to optimize health? And as we begin to focus in on what health really means in various domains, whether it's cardiovascular health or gut health or performance health, or whether it's about avoiding aging, whether it's about avoiding senescence, that's something that I think opens up tremendous opportunities and something I've seen working with these guys progressively and working with Forever, because your entire mandate is to support first and foremost everyone's conception of health, of what makes them happy in life and what makes them feel comfortable and fit and capable of being resilient in the face of all the things that life throws at us. So that's how I got involved with those guys. And my background, in a nutshell, is pretty conventional in terms of internal medicine training, critical care training, and combat casualty care. For years, I was in academic medicine, managing a residency program at the University of Southern California Keck School of Medicine. I also achieved the rank of commander in the United States Navy Medical Corps and deployed to all kinds of places in the world that really instilled in me a tremendous motivation to give something back in the area of global medicine. And I guess that's where I am now. In my retirement, I've never been so busy, not only working with Wally and Roger, but also sitting on various expert committees for USDA and the FDA. As a matter of fact, I just got off an airplane earlier this morning, back from Washington, and I'll go back there again tomorrow in order to take care of business here at the University of Maine, where I also teach at the intersection of social and behavioral sciences and medicine. So with that, way more than you wanted to hear.
No, that's fantastic. That's exactly what our FBOs want to hear. I love what you said, a consumer of powerful science. You know, you'd mentioned your background. You were a general practitioner, but there's really nothing general about what you did, right? You had to be well versed in a wide range of subjects. But what you're doing today is becoming more specialized and specific. And you and I had a conversation earlier about some of the research that you're currently doing with anti-aging and botanicals. And here at Forever Living Products, as you know, we try to use as many feasible botanicals as possible in our dietary supplements to help our FBOs achieve that wellness and vitality that you talked about. So tell us a little bit, give us a little sneak peek behind that curtain. What are you seeing by way of some of those powerful botanicals and anti-aging?
Well, we're focusing on this area now, mostly because um, a younger person offered me her seat on a bus the other day, and I got so upset by that, by the perception that I was obviously a mummy, that, you know, or at least a fragile mummy, that I've decided to devote my entire life now to longevity. At any rate, partially true. In answer to your question, what we're excited about now is looking at what in some ways we've all already been aware of for thousands of years. So everybody appreciates that there is a history of pharmacy, of pharmacology, that there is a rich, storied history of medicine, not only in the Far East, but in the Middle East and in Central Asia, in India. And we've had at the theoretical level, even at the level of federal agencies, we've had attention in this area of that has been called either traditional or Eastern medicine. This is really suddenly coming back into the fore with enormous enthusiasm as the knowledge explosion continues in science. What I'm really talking about is an entire spectrum of herbal and botanical medicines that, as I said, have come to represent what we've said, oh, Eastern medicine, okay. Everybody can make extracts of various plant sources, right? And that's where we've been. And it has not, honestly, rewarded us with any meaningful efforts. We have a sea of extracts of varying kinds, of varying qualities, without standardization in terms of source, in terms of plant, in terms of speciation, in terms of agricultural conditions, in terms of extraction and processing, in terms of distribution, in terms of establishing safety and efficacy in all realms. We haven't had that. Now, with high throughput technologies, with beautiful instrumentation, with computational platforms that are extraordinary, like AI and machine learning, which we can talk about if we have time. But with all these tools, we now appreciate that what we've talked about as, with kind of a making faces, herbal and naturopathic, homeopathic medicine, we've now suddenly realized scientifically that there is a scientific and quantitative and randomized control trial basis for beginning to actually definitively look at what these extracts do, how they can be manufactured in the safest and most effective way, and how we can combine them to actually promote health in, again, an evidence-based fashion. The so-called real-world evidence, the historic evidence, the anthropological evidence, has to be balanced in today's world, where we properly pray at the basis of evidence-based medicine, where we pray at the altar of safety in regulatory affairs. We've got to have data. In God we trust, all others must have data. So one of the great ways that Forever has advanced its product development is on the basis of cutting edge nutritional insights and appreciation that there is enormous potential as we're more thoughtful and as we learn more and more about how we can formulate the stuff that drives our dietary patterns. And I think what we're excited about, again, to come back to your question, and I apologize for being so verbose here, but we are incredibly excited about the rigorous work that we're doing with antioxidants that are derived from all kinds of herbs and botanicals. We have an enormous library now, even in the past year and a half, of research that we have published. We are going through systematically various kinds of antioxidants to demonstrate that, in fact, there is not only a theoretical basis for the claims that we're excited about, but that we can manipulate dose to achieve a very, very distinctive response pattern. And that goes to state-of-the-art pharmacokinetic science. So when we talk about, for example, any product, pick a product, we're going to talk about an amino acid, L-arginine, that forms the basis for one of the newer products that we love. And we're going to talk about how that goes to synthesize an incredibly important compound in the body called nitric acid. We're going to talk about how that increases blood flow by relaxing the lining, the exquisitely complicated and responsive lining of your blood vessels. There's an interaction there that we're now appreciating and operationalizing in a supplement.
I love that.
We're looking at things. Okay.
No, sorry. Didn't mean to cut you off. I want to pause right there, Dr. Pressman, because you've jumped into one of our powerful products, but I want to kind of set the preface for what we're kind of diving into next. So, and you and I, we've spoken, and we both get excited for different reasons about the world of dietary supplements and these botanicals. And, when you look at the Western versus Eastern way we actually treat or look at people's symptoms or their ideal of what wellness is, in the Western hemisphere, we're really good at what's called emergent treatment, right? You get to a point where you're not feeling quite well, and then we start looking for a solution. Whereas in the Eastern part of the world, they have a practice more of preventative, right? They want to maintain this level of wellness. And I love to see the two worlds kind of coming back together, if you will, in this way of standardization. You use that word, and that's a big word, a big scientific word. And I want our FBOs to simply understand that that just means when we source an ingredient and bring it in, it tests the exact same levels of efficacy, safety every single time. We can isolate the components and it will always be, let's say for instance, we bring in a botanical extract and we're looking for 100 milligrams of a specific function. Whenever we bring it in, it's always going to test at that 100 milligrams. No matter no matter what we do, when we source it from this specific source, it's always going to have those same standards. So it's really important to incorporate science. Sometimes our FBOs think, oh, there's something chemical in this formula, or there's something that doesn't look, I can't pronounce that. But it's okay, because we absolutely need science to balance out what Mother Nature does naturally, right? She's ebbs and flows. Sometimes she's high, sometimes she's low. And you need that scientific component to really keep it consistent so that when we put it into a product and we provide it for our FBOs, we know exactly what we're delivering every single time. So when you go into the world of preventative versus corrective, we're more on the side of preventative. We want our FBOs eating healthy foods. We want them getting their nutrition and their nutrients from healthy foods. We want them to have an active lifestyle, moving their body. I mean, I don't care if it's you walk to the mailbox 5 times a day, or you get up and you do the laundry, you put in an extra few steps. Moving, emotion comes from motion. And if you're feeling blue or you're feeling something, get up and move, and that's going to immediately change the chemistry in your body. So Dr. Pressman, talking about moving, we talked about the circulatory system, and we're looking really at this triangle of wellness, where we have 3 products we're going to talk about today: our RG Plus, our aloe vera gel, and our Forever Active Pro B, which is a probiotic. And, from a marketing standpoint, or from really kind of the broad, like we're talking broad, and then we're going to go very specific with you, we look at the way these 3 products work. And, RG is this circulation. It circulates benefits. Then our probiotic takes these beautiful live microorganisms and it grows a healthy environment. Then our aloe vera feeds that healthy environment and helps support that nutrient absorption as you're getting that gut really balanced and healthy. And you talked about just that L-arginine and that nitric oxide. So we're going to start there. And so we're going to back up a little bit, looking at our RG Plus, which is that great first step. You had talked about nitric oxide and L-arginine. Can you talk to me a little bit about that conversion? And then let's go into the circulatory benefits that you talked about.
Let me very quickly do that, but let me very quickly emphasize something here that I think is incredibly important, that you've more than alluded to, which is that in today's world, we're all frustrated and we're all wanting immediate results, and we all want significant results. We all want to feel better, and we all want it yesterday. And we want to be able to do it with one silver bullet. Well, there's no such thing. There is absolutely no such thing. And we would never even remotely suggest that. One of the things that distinguishes Forever, again, what does it mean to be science-based? What does it mean to be evidence-based? There is an appreciation here that you don't have a single product that you lionize and others that you demonize. What Forever is saying, which is a basic physiologic, a basic biological truth, is that the way you support health is with a constellation of balanced and integrated inputs and outputs. As Holly said, that includes things like regular graded aerobic exercise and strength exercise. Absolutely critical for health, for feeling good, for promoting everything good. But it's not enough. It's necessary, but it's not necessary and sufficient. So what we're going to do, say, now is combine the nutritional element. Well, we used to say, again, very basic truth, what Polly said. Holly is my wife, excuse me.
No problem.
Multiple complementary things. When we used to say, just eat food, just as Holly said, eat food. Yes, eat good food, good fat, good protein, good carbohydrate, good stuff. Yes, of course. But, but we also, as it turns out, even in the highly developed, highly affluent world of the United States, we're actually in need of supplementation in terms of our micronutrients. Shockingly, 70% of our population, according to the the recommended daily allowances of various micronutrients, which includes vitamins, provitamins, um, uh, minerals, ionic species, and so on, uh, we're we're meeting the minimum daily requirements, but we appear to be healthy, but excuse me, I misspoke. We are not meeting, 70% of us are not meeting the minimum daily requirements. And this, so the next question then is, what does that mean? Apart from saying, well, maybe that does justify very thoughtful, very evidence-based, science-based supplementation, balanced supplementation. I think that's where we are right now. I don't think there's any question. When we treat ailments, when we treat pathology with medicine, we treat with multiple medicines that achieve the same result through complementary mechanisms, which may simply coexist. They may be additive, they may be multiplicative, they may amplify things exponentially. But the point is that we need to gather the evidence so that we can make recommendations that optimize our nutritional status, whatever that really means. And it's becoming increasingly clear what that means, again, with this knowledge explosion that is occurring really in the last several years. So I think that's extremely important. So we've got, as Holly mentioned, we've got these three products that we're going to discuss that actually uh, are are quite complementary in a very significant fashion. We have L-arginine, which is an amino acid that the body makes, but the body doesn't quite make it in adequate quantities, particularly in vulnerable groups, like the very young who are under conditions of very rapid growth and development and tremendous nutritional requirements, adolescents, athletes, um, young professionals who have incredibly busy lives. And as we go into the older adult life course stages, you have the most rapidly growing proportion of the population in terms of the demographics, and you have a group which is arguably the most nutritionally compromised. So what we have before us then today is an L-arginine supplement, an amino acid that the body makes in small amounts that is normally adequate, but in those specific vulnerable groups across the life stage who across the life stages who may be battling fatigue, they are not likely getting adequate arginine to support nitric oxide, which is the metabolic byproduct, the synthetic product of the metabolic pathway that in effect digests this amino acid as it's supplied. And nitric oxide throughout the body, like a lot of these compounds that are bioactives that we're going to be talking about, has many different functions, many different effects. We call it pleiotropic, which means simultaneously it does a variety of very different things. The most important in terms of the circulatory system is to relax the lining of the blood vessels. The lining of the blood vessels, or the endothelium, is an incredibly busy tissue. Metabolically, it is a factory. It produces all kinds of hormones. Chief among them are those that actually help to govern blood pressure and blood flow by regulating the diameter and the muscle tension at key valve sites and in the very walls of the blood vessels themselves. To a large extent, nitric oxide is the compound that helps to modulate that highly responsive regulation of blood flow according to the body's needs at a given moment. The other incredibly important circulatory factor with nitric oxide is to reduce platelet aggregation. Now, what are platelets? In the blood, you've got liquid and you've got solids. You've got serum, which is composed of water and proteins and ions and all kinds of other things that we don't need to talk about today. And then you've got the solids. What are the solids? Blood cells and platelets. You have red blood cells, you have all kinds of populations of white blood cells, and you have platelets. The platelets are the small fragments that participate in a very primary way in blood clotting.
So, Dr. Pressman, I'm going to jump in really quick here and just do a point of clarification as we are talking, because you are using some powerful science, and you are referencing some amazing functions in the body. But I'd like to note to our FBOs and those watching that at Forever Living Products, we don't diagnose, we don't treat, and we don't cure any disease with our products or our supplements. We are not doctors. Dr. Pressman is a doctor. He brings the science, he brings the functions, the benefits. Here we're doing quality supplements with high quality testing, the right ingredients, as Dr. Pressman mentioned, with a very specific function. So when Dr. Pressman talks about these diseases like diabetes and blood pressure, he's really talking about it from the way the body processes and functions day to day. So when we're talking about our RG Plus, we're not saying to necessarily use it for those conditions, but Dr. Pressman brings an inspiring insight into the science as to how those micronutrients work. In addition to L-arginine in this formula, Dr. Pressman, we have a berry blend, we have a pomegranate, we have a grapeseed extract, we have raspberry and blackberry and red currant. We've got these great extracts with ketones, antioxidants, polyphenols. Let's talk a little bit about that. I just saw you smile because I know those antioxidants get you excited.
I love that you brought that up because one of the things, and first of all, let me reiterate exactly what you said. We're not talking about curing or managing a disease or a health problem. We're talking about supporting health here.
Absolutely.
All these compounds necessarily, of course, have a role in supporting resilience in the face of disease. And that's why, as a physician, I'm excited about these kinds of compounds. And I was very skeptical several years ago, extremely skeptical, because I focused, like most of my colleagues, on fixing the acute problems. Somebody's about to drop dead. What do you do? Nutrition is long. Acute medicine is very quick.
Yes.
Nutrition is powerful, but it's long and it's gradual. One of the things that's incredibly important here, this is not a set of drugs. This is a set of micronutrients.
Yes.
There are a huge number of products out there, nutritional supplements, labeled as nutritional supplements, which are not. As far as I'm concerned, they're drugs.
Yes.
Because a gram of vitamin C in my world is a drug with pluses and serious minuses. The amount of vitamin C in the L-arginine supplement is 100 milligrams. That's what you need, especially if you're exercising and sweating on a regular basis. Vitamin C is water soluble. You need it if you're under a lot of stress. You must have your lemons on a long sea voyage so you don't get scurvy. But the point is here, as a formula, this is a nutritional formula. This is not a pharmacologic formula. It is a nutritional formula that is put together, assembled, and distributed under medical standards. I can't emphasize.
And you've seen the testing, right? You came out and visited our facility.
I have walked the floors of
Yes,
the
you have.
manufacturing facility and the laboratories.
Mhm.
I've sat with the regulatory people and the science folks. Now to bring back the other two products here, so we have a suite of three products. We've got the
Mhm.
L-arginine supplement with the
Mhm.
berry micronutrient suite.
Mhm.
We've got now the aloe vera beverage.
Yes.
And this is the nearest and dearest to my heart. I love this because of how rapidly aloe vera beverages, particularly the Forever Project product, have been recognized not only for its quality and its appeal, but for what it can bring to the table in terms of health promotion. You all hear probiotics and prebiotics and symbiotics thrown around. Very, very simple how this works. Probiotics are organisms that are friendly to you. They promote health. Probiotics are fermented. Um, uh, Probiotics ferment various big polysaccharides and fibers in the gut. From that fermentation, you get short chain fatty acids. You have heard about butyrate and propionate and acetate. All these short chain fatty acids are incredibly important for fuel for the entire sea of microorganisms that comprises your stable and healthy microbiome. Your microbiome not only consists of all the bacteria, all the bacterial flora in your gut, but 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 all the viruses that drag genetic material around, and all the residual compounds from everything that you eat. So you have this huge intestinal microbiome. You have an oral microbiome, which is distinct. You have a vaginal microbiome, which is distinct. We have various regions in the body where we've come to appreciate very specific and very stable collections of organisms that can be affected under stress. And when that happens, you're more vulnerable to illness and, in general, feeling a certain amount of malaise and palpable fatigue. So, what we have here is an aloe vera beverage. The main magical ingredient in aloe vera, in my estimation, is a sugar called asamanan. Asamanan single-handedly, probably in the last 3.5, 4 years, drove a new field, which established new journals, new departments of study, and new degree programs called glycobiology. Glyco for sugar. Asamanan is a big, long sugar, a polysaccharide. This sugar can be fermented by gut bacteria. It's used as fuel. So that fuel keeps those bacteria healthy. They then produce the short chain fatty acids. They produce a host of other things, neuropeptides, special proteinaceous compounds that act as hormones that actually link gut and central nervous system and brain functions that modulate neuroendocrine activity by virtue of both receptor-mediated systems and non-receptor mediated systems. So these are pleiotropic, a lot of big words here, but they're complicated. I want to emphasize that they're complicated. They're powerful, they're complicated. Together, we now have the fuel for your bacteria. Arginine represents the circulatory support. And then we have the combination of 6 probiotics in the Pro-B product itself. So, though don't get me wrong, the number of strains in a probiotic does not determine its functionality. It is the choice of the science
I love that you said,
together.
I
That-
love that you said that, Dr. Pressman, because that's what makes our probiotics so special is the
Yeah.
choice of strains. We've got,
Yep.
you know, you said it doesn't matter the strains. You have to be selective about those strains. We've got 6 strains, one of them which was actually clinically tested in the children's wing of a hospital in Copenhagen, Denmark. And we've got powerful clinical studies on those strains together, but also in the final formula. You know, we've tested to make sure that these microorganisms stay alive and that they are present and that they populate. We have those tests. I'm not going to go into the details about how we get those tests. I'd leave that for you, but we've got those clinical studies. So when you look at the synergy between those strains, it's not that they go in and they kill bad bacteria. Those microorganisms, they wake up, the aloe vera feeds them, they're very hungry, and they begin to find like microorganisms and they populate to really balance out. They grow in a way that kind of prevents the bad bacteria from overpopulating that gut microbiome. And it just generally leads to this overall feeling of wellness. So I love how you said it. RG circulates it, Forever RG Plus circulates it. Aloe Pro or the Forever Active Pro B, it grows that healthy environment. And then for the Forever Living's iconic product, our aloe vera gel, delivers nutrients to those live microorganisms and helps the body absorb that in a more efficient way. So when we get that gut microbiome in a more stable way, as you know, the science behind that is powerful about the overall kind of, it's a chain effect or a knock-on effect of how that impacts the body.
That very well said, I think, and there's a recognition also that as powerful a fuel source as the asamanan is in the aloe vera beverage, it may not be the optimal fuel for some of the other organisms that we want there in that group. So what did Forever do? They added another prebiotic.
Yeah.
So to just as a fallback, to be compulsive and thorough. And remember this, part of our mantra here is compulsive and thorough. That
Right.
makes for good medicine, it makes for good nutrition. So we've got a fructo oligosaccharide, an 8-carbon sugar, plus a mineral, which is going to support whatever bug is not completely happy with the asamanan, or perhaps the consumer has run out of the aloe vera beverage and isn't able to take it. So you want to take probiotics meaningfully. For years, we took probiotics and we weren't sure what kind of effects we were getting because we weren't necessarily providing the fibrous polysaccharide fuel for them. Then we discovered, again, very recently, that you have to match the prebiotic to the probiotic. And this is an example of a beautiful orchestration within each product of complementary ingredients which are formulated properly. And by properly, I mean to be bioavailable and not simply to be voided in the world's most expensive urine. I'm talking about proper doses in a form that is bioavailable so that we have this entourage effect that's the result of all this stuff working in complementary simultaneous fashion.
You know, you talked about the fructooligosaccharides and what we say at acemanin. So you say it again, it was asamanan. That's new. We've been saying it wrong, or maybe we say it right both ways, but you're looking at 2 different sources of those sugars that can feed those live microorganisms. We've put the fructooligosaccharides inside the Aloe Forever or the Forever Active Pro B, so that again, as you mentioned, we don't have a one bullet fits all, a one ticket fits all. We have to have multiple points, and there has to be smart science applied. You can't just create a probiotic and say it has, 60 billion CFU and you've got, 50 different strains. It has to be smart, strategically selected, formulated with science, clinical studies, which we have, and the science to back it. And then you add aloe vera. And as you mentioned, then you get this complementary kind of the circulation, for lack of a better term, effect with the RG plus, that circular drive. Then you've got your Forever Active Pro B that's growing that gut microbiome. And then you've got our powerful aloe vera gel that's really feeding and really adding value to those other two products and other products that Forever Living Products produces. So, and as you know, quality is always at the center of what we do. Quality and science, which is why you are so valuable to our team. You and Dr. Pressman and or Dr. Hayes and Dr. Clemens are so valuable in the contributions that you make. I get the pleasure and the privilege of working with you from a formulation standpoint when we're creating new formulas. And we can't talk about the new product we're working on right now, but we have a collaboration going where you have provided me the right doses of those micronutrients, of those vitamins, those key minerals to put, and the right form. The right form is important as well. And so we just take what you have and bring to the table, and we apply it in these products, and then we deliver these beautiful, as you mentioned, supplemental complementary benefits to our FBOs that they can then go out and promote and share. And most importantly, personally derive the benefits from these products. So Dr. Pressman, it has been so lovely having you today. We're actually going to pop into the chat really quick and take some live questions from our FBOs. And you and I are going to tag team these. I'll have you answer some and I'll answer some. So I'm going to ask Pam to bring me those questions really quickly.
While we're waiting, I wanted to mention one concern that comes up a lot, and I get asked about non-nutritive sweeteners and the fact that sucralose appears in some of the products. And you guys know that sucralose is essentially Splenda. That's how you would recognize it in commerce, right?
Right, brand. That's the branded name, right?
Yes, the branded name. And you should know that sucralose is a derivative of table sugar. I mean, it's a derivative of sucrose. It's nothing scary. This is not a volatile organic solvent. This is not a scary compound at all. We use it because it's 600 times sweeter than sucrose, and it allows us to use a tiny, tiny bit to create palatability without adding excess calories that you may not want. So I wanted to mention that because sucralose comes up all the time, more than some of the other non-nutritive sweeteners. And that's important.
Thank you. I'm so glad in fact, I'm going to take this little snippet and I'm going to hand it out to the rest of the world because I get that question all the time. Why do you use sucralose? It's an artificial sweetener. It's got all these studies that show it's not good, but they don't understand that were we to provide a product without sweetness, nobody would drink it, Dr. Pressman. It would be, you put it in your mouth and it'd either be so bitter or so botanical or so nasty, you would spit it out immediately. And we don't want people to have that reaction with our products. We want them to take it in a really easy way. So we add these ingredients and we source them. And when we look at the science, as you mentioned, the sweetness of level of sucralose allows us to do a zero sugar claim on the label and a reduced calorie benefit to our FBOs so that we can have more people taking our product. You know, if we were to add the straight sucrose and the amount required to get it be sweet, first it would eliminate a group of people that wouldn't be able to take our product. It would create a really imbalance in the sweetness. Sucralose is it's just standardized. We know exactly how much we need. And it is just a teeny, teeny, tiny amount to provide that sweetness. So I'm so glad you touched on it. You answered a question. Hopefully our FBOs will listen. And I love that you said that from a scientific perspective. I'm going to toss one of these questions to you, Dr. Pressman. And we talked about it a little bit, but they said, how do you know if you need to take a probiotic? And how long before you see any benefits? I'll take the benefit. First of all, with a supplement, it's really hard to correlate a benefit or a feeling to a supplement or to anything really, right? You could eat some broccoli and a salad the night before and wake up not feeling great in the middle of the night. Or you could take a supplement and wake up feeling great the next morning. You just don't know where that feeling really comes from. So it's hard to tie a direct benefit. But when you look in the world of probiotics, Dr. Pressman, who needs probiotics?
That's a very good question. I'll tell you how I know I need probiotics is because if I don't take them, I'm aware of it. If
Yeah.
I do take it, I'm not aware at all. I just feel good. I function well. The same is true, I think, for nutritional supplements. What I have heard from scores of patients is that they know when they miss a day. They know when they miss 2 days. You don't necessarily know that I need a particular compound as a cofactor of a reaction at the cellular level that, that I'm not having right now because I'm not getting adequacy. But I don't think that occurs to people. I think that we're talking about optimizing a sense of well-being and your private, very personal conception of what being alive is all about. I mean, what's health for you? What's comfort?
Yeah.
What's feeling good? Being able to do exactly what you want to do, to do the things that are meaningful in a sustained fashion. And I think, I don't think there is maybe I'm frustrating you because I'm not giving you a clean, I don't think I
No,
ever give you a
I
clean,
think
easy answer, but, but,
no, it's hard. I understand. No, I think you did
but
really
you know
well.
what
I
I'm
think you
saying?
nailed it. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I think that's, there is no easy answer here. I think
Right. It's hard to measure a benefit from a supplement, but we think, in a world where we're depleted in the nutrients, you mentioned 70% of the population is depleted in something. People say, why? I say, why not? Like, you have everything to gain.
yeah,
And I'm
yeah.
the same way. I notice when I don't take my daily probiotic. So for me, it's valuable because I do notice when I'm not taking certain supplements, I just start to feel a little off, and I'm attuned to my own body. You talked about how you know when you have missed or when you don't take it. I think it's really an individual thing. And I don't think you can expect to say, I'm taking my probiotic and therefore I'm going to run faster, think smarter, get the job I want. I mean, it doesn't translate like that. It's very small complementary steps. And as you
Right,
mentioned, it's not just
right,
one, it's the collection of a whole. So you have to
right.
be more present and you have to listen more to your body and be aware of how you are feeling directly correlated to the food you're eating and the lifestyle that you're living. I would suspect if we got quiet for a moment and became present, we would know intuitively what our body needs or what we need to stop doing or what we should be doing in order to help make those subtle adjustments. So I think you did a great job answering it. Thank you. I'm going to take this one. It says, why should we drink RG Plus within 30 minutes? This is recommended simply because you're adding these key micronutrients and vitamins and minerals to water. And while they're water-soluble vitamins, you want to make sure you're getting them at their maximum efficacy and potency. And those vitamins and minerals begin to degrade as you expose them to water. So you must drink your RG Plus in the first 30 minutes to capture the potency and the purity of those vitamins and minerals in their form when you introduce them to water. It's simply when you introduce them to water, you need to drink it quickly to get the maximum benefits. So I'll take that one. I think we've already answered from Matt from the UK, how does the drinking gel improve nutrient absorption? I believe we've talked about that, but the most compelling argument, I think, is the way Forever Living Products really manufactures our aloe vera gel. It is pure inner leaf aloe vera. It is not the outside of the leaf. It is the inner leaf. And when you drink Forever Living's aloe vera gel, it's literally as if you pulled the plant right out of the earth, sliced open the leaf, and you're drinking right from that leaf. I mean, it is so pure. The quality is so high. We have
Right,
so many
right,
checkpoints
right.
along the way that it's just, I mean, we know aloe. We're the largest grower of aloe vera in the world. We've been manufacturing this product for over 2 decades, and we know the functions, the benefits, and the features. And so it's a powerful product that can be supplemented and added to any dietary lifestyle. I think we've already talked about L-arginine and its benefits. So Soel from India, if you'll go back and listen to Dr. Pressman's part where he talks about L-arginine and the conversion to nitric oxide. Peter from the Netherlands says, do the ingredients in powdered supplements lose any nutritional value because they are a powder? This is a really tough one to answer, and I'm going to answer specifically with Forever's powdered supplements. I can't speak for other companies' powdered supplements, but I can tell you that when they are powdered, they are tested for everything. They are tested for all of their benefits, and they're tested against any contaminants. So we want to make sure we have the purest form of whatever it is we're putting in that powder in that finished product. Now, again, how you introduce that powder, if you introduce it into a fizzy beverage or you introduce it into even flat water, they'll start to break down naturally. That's Mother Nature at work. But I don't believe there's really any less benefit by getting a nutrient in powder. In fact, I think it creates more stability in a vitamin and mineral when you can take it in that way. So hopefully that answers your question, Peter. Anna from Poland says, can Forever Active Pro B be supplemented constantly, or is it better to take breaks? This is one, again, I'm going to say consistency is key. Drink your aloe, take your RG Plus, and take your Pro B every single day, in addition to your other vitamins and minerals that you opt to choose. And combine that with your healthy nutrients, nutrient-dense food, and a healthy lifestyle. We don't feel like you have to take a break. You wouldn't need to. Your gut is going to adjust. Your body is so smart, right, Dr. Pressman? It knows exactly what it needs. It knows to discard what it doesn't need, and it knows how to leverage the power of these vitamins and minerals and take it exactly where it needs it. So thank you for that question, Anna. And I believe also we've asked, Dr. Pressman, did a great job on Pro B as a prebiotic for the gut and what does it mean? So I think we've actually answered some of these questions in this Power Hour. So Dr. Pressman, again, thank you so much for joining me. It's an honor and a privilege. I look forward to seeing you again. And all of our FBOs, I wish you the best of success as you go out and you share these powerful products from Forever Living Products. Until we meet again, I'm sending you the biggest hugs and loves. Bye.
Hi, guys.